Nature and weather systems in other dimensions. That's the crazy topic of this video, and you're watching Afterlife Topics and Metaphysics with Cyrus. If this is your first time here, we talk about topics like life after death, astral projection, and metaphysics, and a lot more. And on this video, I want to talk about something that's difficult to wrap one's mind around, and it's based on some discussions that I've been seeing lately on some of the afterlife groups about weather systems and being able to feel sensations, things like that. And as always, there's all these mixed messages, mixed ideas, mixed opinions. When you're confronted by all these mixed ideas, mixed opinions, usually the best sort of fallback position is to look at what solid mediums have to say. Look, I'm an out-of-body experience guy. I've had a lot of direct experiences on that side, but even out-of-body experiences have limitations. I wouldn't use out-of-body experiences as as the primary way to get information about the other side, because OBEs are still have the potential of being interfered with by hallucinations, dream states, brain stuff. Really, it's the responsibility of somebody like me to know how to filter through all that to have real and solid experiences on that side. Near-death experiences are more reliable to gain information about the other side because there's no longer that connection to the brain. It's like a more pure experience on that side, but still they're not fully reliable because NDEs are often transitionary stages where somebody is meeting a bunch of guides or higher level entities to discuss some important things and decide about going back to their body. Not necessarily direct afterlife experiences. That leaves mediumship. And as much as mental mediumship in particular has issues, mediumship can still be one of the best ways to glean information about the lives that people have on the so-called astral side of existence. Physical mediumship, like all of the archives of Leslie Flint, are a good way to learn a lot about that side. And before we, I don't want to spin too much off into that topic, but if you don't know who Leslie Flint is, you can put on YouTube the Leslie Flint Trust. Lots of good information through basically what was many years of direct voice mediumship. So just think of it as a medium producing a voice discarnate from his own, and then entities coming through that voice and claiming to be different people. But it was confirmed as a paranormal event, and I do take Leslie Flint very seriously. So with mediumship communication, we learn more specific details that we can wrap our minds around. And as such, what I usually hear, is people on that side saying, everything you have there, we have here. So there's not going to be some major limitation. So when I hear people saying things like you can't have sensation, you can't feel the warmth, and you cannot feel the cold, I have to get very skeptical of that. So basically, like, something I'd been hearing recently was that when you die, if it's winter, you can't feel the cold. Somebody else said, and actually, well, Jürgen Ziwe, hello, I think you might be watching this video. You mentioned that a lot of that relates to emotional states. So the cold is represented by feelings of low vibration, or despair or sadness can manifest as like a spiritual coldness, and warmth is like a loving sensation, but it's not necessarily literal feelings like we have here. And I find all of these accounts to frankly be a little bit odd. The last time I had like a really good physical astral experience was a couple of weeks ago, and I was at a beach, and I just warped right in this place. Like, I was literally there, and there were people surfing, and I could feel the air, and I could taste the salt water, and people were hanging out, and my deceased mom was actually nearby, and so I mean I was there on the astral side, and I was in the same area that I appear at frequently, which is a place I appear to be living at on the astral side of Mexico. So this idea that it's it's much more complicated than it needs to be, I don't necessarily buy that. So the idea that we don't feel sensation, especially, doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And some of these accounts, though, doesn't mean that they're not true. So can you feel like a spiritual coldness? I'm sure you can. Can you feel a spiritual warmth? I'm sure you can. But the big point is that physics has to kind of continue on as normal, or else the astral environment is not really a legitimate place. Now, in the last video I talked about the cotton candy forest. If it wasn't like if physics didn't continue on from this side, then we'd be going into a big world of illusions, of fantasy land. And that's not something I have any interest in doing. So I would prefer to be incarnated here than to be in an illusionary state of being, where weather is not really weather, where there is no seasons, where you can't feel cold, you can't feel warmth, and everything is kind of non-solid and like wishy-washy, wibbly-wobbly, not really there. We just kind of create things with our mind, and it's just like it's impermanent. So these are all ideas that I find very unappealing. And a few more videos back, I spoke about how I used to dislike many concepts of an afterlife until I began having my own experiences. Every time I began having my own experiences, I would always refute these ideas. So while on the internet, I would get impressions from people that there's no weather, there's no sensation, there's no permanence, and it's this kind of dream state. Having the astral experiences and talking to people who are deceased, I would get the very different impression. I came to find that there are differences, but it's not like anything that's handicapping anything by comparison to here. So as an example, if you feel a sensation like the cold, here it can have a negative bodily effect. So if you go out into we see this beautiful winter landscape on the screen, if you walk out into that in your birthday suit out in this world, then it's likely to cause frostbite and damage to you. On the astral side, you're going to feel that cold air hitting you, but there's a disconnect, in my opinion, between the bodily sensation and mental sensation. So here it's like tied together. There's no escaping it. But on the other side, and I think this is the big difference, everything is experienced more mentally. So you'll experience the same sensations, but you'll be able to have that sensation of looking at yourself experiencing it, if that makes any sense. How do I put this? We're not so interwoven with our physical bodies. Much like on the other side, you can project your consciousness outside of your body and look at yourself from different angles. You can project your consciousness away from a sensation you don't like. And so it's not going to have a command over you, and nor will it permanently damage your astral body, because we're no longer bound up by those same physical rules. So yes, you can have sensation, and yes, you can feel weather, but it's not going to be quite the same as you feel it here, but doesn't mean you'll feel it any less. And you kind of have to experience that to know what I'm talking about. But ultimately, no, there is no difference, and if you're having a solid astral experience, you'll find you have the same sensations. So finally, this leads to the topic of weather. So personally, on the same theme I've been talking about, where I don't like the idea of being in an illusion, I wouldn't like to be in a world where there is no weather, because weather is kind of it's like elements outside of our control. It's the natural flow of things. It's the way, how do you say it? Like the seasons come, the seasons go, but that's like almost a constant variable that is outside of us. So it shows you that it's a living, breathing world, not merely just things that we're programming like it's a big computer game. It shows that there's something outside of us, and this is why I like weather. You wake up, you don't know, is it going to rain, is it going to snow? And all the seasons have their own unique elements. Summertime has things to love about it. Autumn has things to love about it. Winter has things to love about it. Spring has things to love about it. They're all unique embodiments. So good luck trying to convince me that we're better off without weather. I don't think so. But there are accounts of realms that don't have weather. Like you talk about Summerland is just one perpetual state of summer. I don't like that stuff very much, but other people do like it, and so it makes sense if they build those worlds for themselves. To me, I prefer keeping things the way they are. And at the moment, there is no reason to assume that there is no weather. But as always, I recommend doing your own research, and if you can, talk to some, really quality, trusted mediums, then I think most of the time you'll be surprised, and you'll find that they kind of say the same stuff I'm saying. That said, still people on that side, they end up in all kinds of freaky, weird places and realms that we cannot comprehend. So when somebody says that they're in a cotton candy forest out in the candy land, then there's no reason they wouldn't be, because there's all kinds of realms. But I'm just sharing what I would like and what I don't like, what turns me off. What turns me off is fakeness. I don't want to be in any kind of artificial environment. Either give me the real thing or send me back here. That's my opinion about it. Alright, well, this is Cyrus. If you like this stuff, please hit the subscribe button. If you don't know how to hit the subscribe button, you should be logged into Google, your Google account, and then you can go down, you can help the channel out by subscribing. You can also click show more on the YouTube description to check out my books like Understanding Life After Death. You can join the Facebook group. You can check out the link to the class sign-up page and other ways to support the work I do. And that's about it. I'll see you guys on the next video, hopefully soon.